Well, thank you, Chairwoman, and Mr. Deutsch, thank you very much. And also welcome, Ambassador Patterson. Good to see you, and Mr. Chollet. Last month, the President made a case for collective action, if you saw that speech. And indeed, coalitions were mobilized during the first Gulf War. More recently, coalitions helped end a war in Sierra Leone and hit Al-Qaeda in Mali. We should always look to share the costs of actions which we take. But part of being a leader means holding our coalition partners accountable, making sure they fulfill the commitments they make. Unfortunately, this administration has failed in the role in Libya. It's been clear since the beginning that it was singularly focused on getting rid of Gaddafi, on ousting Colonel Gaddafi. The administration's lack of interest in leading has allowed our coalition partners to fail. Despite the acknowledged weaknesses of the Libyan transitional government, this administration allowed NATO to head home, knowing the job was not done. The United Nations didn't fare any better. The UN mission didn't fulfill even the modest task it was given. The EU was charged with border security, a commitment that was made but never kept. The EU didn't send border security assistance teams into Libya until 2013 and only sent a portion of what was promised. If the administration's policy was to let others take action, then the U.S. was to make sure others fulfilled their commitments. There is no doubt that the Libyans have done a lousy job guiding their country during the transition, and ultimately the Libyans must take ownership of their future. But we can and we should be supportive. Assisting Libya today will require that we sit down with allies and partners to assess the needs. We must be clear with our allies about our shared goals and objectives and what is expected of each other. We also need to be realistic about our own ability to accomplish our diplomatic objectives in such a dangerous environment. The protection of our diplomats must be a priority as we consider how to engage in Libya. We learned the hard lesson of the dangers of expeditionary diplomacy in Benghazi. Today, terrorists are using Libya as a training ground and a base to destabilize the entire region. Weapons and people from across North Africa, including Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, are meeting up in Libya, and they're organizing in Libya. We know terrorists are actively trying to destabilize Tunisia and Egypt and Algeria. We know terrorists trained in Libya are fighting both in Syria and in Iraq. Libya is rapidly slipping into chaos. And as we've seen in Iraq, a terrorist element in control of valuable natural resources poses a serious threat to the state, to its neighbors, and to the United States. And Madam Chairwoman, I'd ask unanimous consent, if I could.
Without objection.
This unanimous consent is for a statement of Mr. Omar Turby to be included as part of the official record.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairman, for joining us. Without objection, we'll make that a part of the record. We appreciate your time.